Alright guys, I'm going to be showing you a little bit about the frictionless modified Atwood's machine. This picture here shows you exactly what it looks like. You have a cart that's on a table, and the wheels and the table, there's no friction there between the two of those. There is a scenario where we do have friction, but not for this particular problem. And then we have a pulley, a frictionless massless pulley, and we have a massless string. And then we have this weight that's pulling down on it. So just a couple things, some assumptions. Some of these things are not always true, but for this problem it is. Number one, there's no friction. There are other problems where we do have to deal with friction on a modified Atwood machine, but not this one. We also assume that the pulley is frictionless as well, which means that as it turns, there's no friction in the turning of the pulley, and it also has no mass, which is something that I don't care to explain right now, but obviously it doesn't make sense. There's no way for the pulley to not have mass, but we just assume that it doesn't. So no friction or mass. And then finally we assume that the string is massless, which also doesn't really make sense in the real world, but we assume these things because if they weren't true, that would make this problem, each little thing would make this problem a little bit more complicated. So we're just simplifying things to make sure that we understand them. Now, when we look at this problem, there's a couple ways to tackle it, but the best way is to look at it in terms of systems. It's a great time to learn about what systems actually are. So a system is either an object or a couple of objects that you choose to look at to decide what kind of forces are acting on that system. So if we look at each object as a system, I'm going to use blue for the first one, we could draw a force diagram, right? So we have gravity pulling down on this object, and normal is pushing up because this cart is on the table and it's not allowing the cart to accelerate up or down, so those forces must be equal and opposite to each other. Since there's no friction, there's no force going to the left, but what causes this cart to accelerate is a tension force that pulls it to the right. In fact, I'm going to make that a little bit smaller, maybe, just so that'll match up later. So I have a small tension force going to the right. You don't need a big force. In fact, any non-zero force would cause an acceleration to the right if there's no friction. And that's one of the things that my students get hung up on a lot. They imagine that if mass 1 is bigger than mass 2, then there's no way that the mass 1 will accelerate. It'll just hang there. But that's not true. That's only true if there's friction and that friction force is bigger than whatever that force pulling down is going to be. So because there's no friction, you could have a 0.0000001 force, Newton force, pulling it to the right, and it will accelerate very slowly, but it will accelerate. So any force pulling this thing to the right is going to make it accelerate. In this case, it's caused by tension. Let's look at the other block and pretend that that is our system now. So we have gravity going down. Let's say it's a little bit smaller than M1's gravity. And then we have tension going up. That tension is caused by that string. That string is pulling this particular thing up, but it's not strong enough because gravity is stronger than the tension force, and therefore it accelerates downward. If we were to try to find out the acceleration of either of these things, the key to understanding this entire problem is Newton's second law, which says that the acceleration of an object is equal to the sum of the forces on an object or a system divided by the mass of that total system. So that's important, by the way. So each one of these things is for a particular system. So just to reiterate, it's the acceleration of a system is equal to the net force on the system divided by the mass of the system. So depending on what system we choose is what kind of, what mass we use and what forces we use and what acceleration we calculate. So keep that in mind because that's going to come up in a second. Now, if we were to do this, in both scenarios, we would need to know what is the tension force. And we don't know that. So like even if we knew what the masses were, we would be able to calculate the gravities. And then if we knew the gravities, we would be able to calculate the normal force, right? Because we'd have this equation, Fg equals mg. So if I told you what the mass was for each of these, you would calculate it and you would get the force. And then you would know that that's equal to normal. So you would have those two forces, and you would have the Fg of the hanging mass. So then the only thing you would be missing is the tension. And the problem is we don't know what that tension is. There's no way for us to just kind of figure that out first before we go ahead and solve for the acceleration. So instead we have to look at this problem a little differently. The best way that I think to do this problem is to look at the system as not just one of the objects, but both of the objects at the same time. So my system is now this orange system. So it includes both mass 1 and mass 2. Now, if you remember from earlier when we talked about force diagrams, you cannot include internal forces on your force diagram. All of the forces, so I'll write this down, all forces on a free body diagram must be external. External meaning that it's coming from outside of the system. So by including both of these masses in one system, we've actually kind of swallowed up the tension forces. These tension forces exist in this string, and that string is included in our system, and so therefore those tension forces cannot be drawn on our force diagram. And because they're one system now we have to draw a new force diagram for our system. So here's where it gets a little tricky. If I want to draw a force diagram for this system, the problem is that we have gravity going down, right? So I'll just do this. This is for the cart mass, so that's why I'll put C there. And then we have normal going up, and those are equal. That's for the cart, right? That's these two right here. But now the question is, how do I put, because the last force is the force of gravity on the hanging mass. And you might say, all right, we'll put it here. You could do that. And then you would know that the acceleration is downward. I think that's fine. You could do that, or you could put it to the right. FGH. Now you might be saying, well, wait a second, gravity definitely does not push to the right. It always pulls down on Earth, and that's true, but the way that I'm thinking about it is I'm imagining that, so the issue is that this pulley right here, the pulley redirects force, and it changes the direction of forces. That's what's causing the issue here. And it's more of like a tug of war. So right, we have the gravity pulling this thing down, but then we also have the mass of this thing resisting that pull and kind of slowly accelerating down. So I think of it just as this mass is like almost being pulled to the right by gravity, the hanging mass. That's how I think of it. I like the way that this looks better. If you prefer to put it down, I think that that works just as well, but that's how I go about doing it. So now once you have this though, the most important part, so once you're all right with that, now you see that we have these forces cancel, and so our net force is FGH. So the net force of our system is equal to Fg of the hanging mass. Knowing Newton's second law, which is what's in green there, I'm going to change to green. I'm going to plug this in for our system. So I have the acceleration of the system is equal to FGH divided by the mass of the system. Here's the thing, it's the mass of the system, the whole thing. So we have to include M1 and M2 in our system. FGH is going to be M2 times G, right? And that's coming from this equation, Fg equals mg, right? So if I plug that in for FGH, and then that's going to tell us what the acceleration of our system is. So this right here is actually true for all frictionless modified Atwood's machine systems. The only problem is this is not on your equation sheet. So unless you want to memorize it, you're kind of beat. And also you probably would have to show how you solved for that anyway on the AP exam. Once you get this though, a lot of times they ask you, they follow up and they say, all right, well now what is the tension? Right? Because we just got the acceleration, but now they want to know what's the tension. So the way that we find the tension once we get the acceleration is we plug it back into Newton's second law, and we find out what the net force is going to be. So let's look at the blue one, M1. The net force for the blue one is equal to just the tension, right? Because the gravity and the normal cancel out, and all you're left with is tension. So if I want to know what tension is, all I need to do is find out what is the net force on just M1, not the whole system. So the net force on M1 is going to be M1 times the acceleration is equal to Ft. I just calculated the acceleration. The acceleration of the system is going to equal the acceleration of the first block, and it's also going to equal the acceleration of the second block. Why is that? Well, think about it. If the second block accelerated at a faster rate than the blue one did, then the string would snap, right? And it would fall faster than the blue one is accelerating to the right. Same thing, if the blue one accelerated faster, the string would get bunched up, and that's not what's going to happen. So they move together with the same acceleration, and that's an important understanding about modified Atwood's machine. So if that's the case, once you solve for the acceleration of the system, then you can plug it in for the acceleration of a single object in the system, multiply it by the mass of that object, and that will tell you what the tension force is. And that is the frictionless modified Atwood's machine.